Welcome, everyone. This is Divine Dialogues, Intuitives Unveiled. I am Tracey Bango from Angels on the Prairie.
And I'm Rhonda Sean with Divine Guidance with Rhonda. And we're members of the Angel Empowerment Wellness Center. In our podcast, we're going to be delving into topics such as intuition, angelic connections, and the spiritual realm.
We're also going to talk about our own personal experiences to help you understand your own intuitive abilities. Thanks for joining us.
And let's begin.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to this week's podcast. We're going to talk about growth and transformation. So, how we're moving. You know what? You're pulling a card right away, Rhonda. I'm not even talking. Isn't that interesting?
So what the... Oh, that one flopped out. Well, that's interesting. So changing your mind. The growth and transformation. Which initially, actually, as I pulled it, I thought, what do you want to talk about this for? But what they're saying is, for part of that growth and transformation, it is sometimes about simply changing your mind. When you're thinking you want this, and you're almost like down that path of doing it, and then all of a sudden you're either forced to pivot or need to pivot, and it's like you kind of beat yourself up to it, is actually changing your mind to pivot what you want to do. Okay, so I'm going to get a little personal here, and this is for myself because they're guiding me to tell you this. So when I was younger, it kind of goes back into literally kindergarten, is I thought I was going to want to be a teacher. That's all I ever wanted to be, was a teacher. And I was going through this. This is something that really challenged me, kind of with that kind of divine knowing we kind of talked about earlier in the episode, or earlier in one of our podcasts just recently, where I was forced. I still have a pivotal moment where I was going to be a teacher. That's whatever. It was part of my DNA. I know what I know, and I know. I remember December 10th, 1985. I literally heard the voice of God saying, "You're not going to be a teacher the way you think you're going to be." And I ignored it. I thought, well, yeah, I'm going to prove you wrong, because I was just that stubborn and determined. Go on through university, go on to high school, go on to university. All of a sudden, I'm in a classroom and I'm going, I do not want to teach for 40 years, which was just mind blowing to me. And it really shook me to my core, because I thought, this is what I was supposed to do. I didn't know how, but yet I remember that message. I remember that date and how that stood out to me, because traditionally I thought this was the how. Like, I was more focused on how I was going to teach. And so I literally kind of fell into a really big depression with this. But what it gave me was, it gave me an opportunity. About 20 some years later, I ended up winning a class. I ended up taking this that led me into this path. Now, the people who knew me when I was younger, everybody thought I was going to be a nun, because I was just that in tune and that connected. But I knew I wasn't going to be a nun. I had no interest in being a nun. But where it went is, that's where that pivot came. Even though I am teaching, I know teaching, but I'm teaching this. I'm not teaching in a traditional class. I have classes. I have this. I teach people how to connect to the divine and trusting the divine, which is more in my alignment and more in my spiritual practice than it was. And this is where they're saying, it's like, again, it's divine timing and divine knowing. So I knew I was going to be a teacher, but I was so focused on the how that in a way, I stopped listening. Even though I was connected, I stopped listening to it because I was so bound and determined that this is what they wanted to do. Where then they threw curveballs essentially in my path and led me back, where now I'm back to that passion and going, oh, this is what I was supposed to do.
Cool. When we have those things happen, I think it's always good to talk about it and share, because some people don't understand that inner voice you hear is from a higher power, right?
Uh,
Okay, Ron, tell me your card again. Apparently,
Changing your mind.
changing your mind. For whatever reason, they said get her to say it again because it was gone. Somebody wanted to hear it again. Okay, so um so they're talking about how okay, so they're taking me to career, which is kind of interesting. So they're saying, okay, so um you have put much time and energy into what you're doing right now, at what you're doing this moment in your life. And for whatever reason, um, it's not that you're not enjoying it, but it's not your joy. And they're saying now is time for transformation. So they're saying, they've been presenting different ideas, different expansions, different way to grow in what you are already doing. And a lot of it is you just fear of change, fear of just you're settling. They're saying you're settling when you can be much better than you are and you can find more joy in your career, in your job. And they're asking you to start paying attention. And I'm going to say to the signs that they are sending you. Now, it's things you're going to see all like that you could be seeing every day. Like you're walking in the hall at work and that posting that's been there for a while, and all of a sudden you've really noticed it. Well, guess what? There's a reason that you've really noticed it. Like it's just little things like that that happen. Or, you see something on a billboard that's been there for the whole month, but all of a sudden you see a sentence and read it that kind of goes highlights that, you go, why am I seeing that all of a sudden? Because they're trying to get your attention for a reason. So it's just this little things that, have been there always, but all of a sudden you're noticing certain things about it. And they're saying, pay attention to that. That's how they're getting your attention. And if you're on social media, it's repetitive things that are repetitive that keep popping up that they would like you, whether they would like you to take a course or do some learning, or it's a whole different career that's popping up and something that you've never thought of. And then all of a sudden you're going, well, maybe I can do that. Maybe it's time for me to do a change. So it's funny how they get your attention. And honestly, I'm going to say stop from overthinking it. That you're being, and I'm going to say the word, that you're being a little bit out there, that you're thinking that you're crazy. Like if and I know that's not the best word, but it's how some of us, how we think, when things happen and you're going, no. But remember, that's your ego trying to keep you safe also. Our ego is here to keep us safe and doubt things that happen because they want to keep you in a safe space. Okay, so just to summarize, this is all about it's the time they want you to start growing and changing, like transformation. They're saying there's some changes to be made moving forward, and they're, you know, always it can be a little bit out of your comfort zone and something that you never really thought about. Look at Rhonda's story, so have trust and faith that they know what's for your greater good.
Yeah. And I'm being guided. If you want to know more, go check out episode 17 about mindset and growth. And we get into a little bit of topic of how to talk to yourself and how to grow from expansion.
All right, everybody. Have a great week. See you next time.
Yeah, bye. Thank you for listening to Divine Dialogues, Intuitives Unveiled. If you would like to work with Tracey and Rhonda, our information is posted in the show notes.
Now, our new episodes are going to fall on Tuesdays. So if you're interested in receiving a free meditation on connecting to your guardian angels, click that link below to subscribe to the Angel Empowerment Wellness Center newsletter. Thanks for joining us.
Take care, everybody.